Hi, this is Will Vaughn, and I'm going to talk about my culture of education first off. I also am going to be reading off the script here, so if I'm not looking directly at the camera, that's why. All right, first off, I'd like to define my culture as white, middle class American male. As far as my cultural background is concerned, I feel like the town I grew up in, Midland, Michigan, is pretty indicative of many small towns in America. Overwhelmingly white with a decent amount of wealth in the city, although not always well distributed. I grew up as an only child between my parents, but I do have a few much older half brothers and sisters. But I'm the only one between my parents, and basically all my siblings are old enough to be my parents, so I'm an only child. So my father was an uneducated, retired railroad worker, and my mother is a well-educated, registered nurse. My education was something that was very important to my parents. In the first grade, I was having a hard time learning to read, and they made sure I got extra help from my teachers until I caught up. However, my parents were both born in the 1940s, and I believe that their view of my education was that it was a means to an end. My mother, who was very intelligent, was a Cold War kid who was taught that you get an education to get a better job so you can make more money and provide for your family. I think my father, who was a high school dropout but very intelligent in his own way, valued learning much more than formal education itself. He was very inquisitive by nature and wanted to find the meaning of everything through rigorous self-study. He and I were constantly having conversations about the nature of things and nature of things and about whatever thing he happened to be studying at the time. He was very eclectic and studied a lot of different things and bounced from one thing to the next to the next. So my mother was the one that was always harping on me about my grades and telling me that I needed to do better if I wanted to have a good job. I think I got a lot of both of their viewpoints handed down to me. On one hand, let me scroll up for a second. Alright, on one hand, after working a bunch of dead-end jobs and living paycheck to paycheck, I see the wisdom of my mother's teaching that education is an investment in my future. On the other hand, I genuinely love learning, and I get so much more satisfaction out of a good discussion and learning something new than I do by simply getting an A on a test or for a class. Nowadays, I value education in and of itself, both as a tool for advancement in life and as a major piece of what makes life worth living. I think the latter part is how my culture of education differs from most people. I see most people as doing what they need to do to get through and get a good grade so they can get their degree and get a good job. This is also important to me, but to be honest, even in the subjects I don't care for very much, I love to learn and to be stimulated mentally. And to me, the learning is more important than the end result. So, now I'm going to talk about my plans for this project. For this project, I'm going to be interacting with Sam Singh. He's a classmate of mine from India. As far as how his culture might be different from mine, this might be stereotypical, but I would guess that him being from India, he probably has a large family who he is pretty close with, whereas I don't have much family and I'm truly only close with my mother. I think interacting with Sam will take me out of my comfort zone by exposing me to some new ways of thinking and opening my mind to some values other than my own. I also feel that some Indian food will be involved, and since I'm a very picky eater, that will take me way out of my comfort zone. For our first interaction, I plan on interviewing Sam and asking him questions about his own culture of education. As we have both already discussed, for our second interaction, I'll bring him to church with me and he will take me to a Hindu temple. I've also decided that since American culture is highly steeped in entertainment and going to concerts is one of my favorite things to do in the world, I will take Sam to a concert for a third extra credit interaction. I think that being able to experience these things for the first time are going to open up a lot of dialogue between us and challenge us both to see not just things about others' culture or each other's culture, but learn more about our own as well. Thanks. Hopefully that was entertaining for you.